Hey! Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. This is your future free potato, just another potato, and welcome to another video of Cosmic Frontiers. In the previous episode we started with our HV implementation, and we started by doing two things. The first one, we've upgraded our miners. This will be a huge upgrade as this is faster and it covers a bigger area. And with that, we've also upgraded some of our tools. And as you can see, we have the power tool version of some of them. And after that, we've got some of our first HV machines, including the assembler and the chemical bath, which help us into making our first clean room and our first advanced circuit assembler. And with that, our first microprocessor mainframe. That is our first IV circuit. Now, in between episodes, I've been batch crafting a lot of circuits. Well, it doesn't seem a lot, right? I've just batch crafted 12 EV circuits, which we are going to be using in the next few episodes, and I might be using even more of these. So I might need to batch craft more of these. But yes, we have our first 12 EV circuits, and I also did one more stack of HV circuits. Now I'm thinking of still doing for HV circuits, is still using the old recipe we were using, so the one that needs transistors, electron wire and anneal copper, because this is a bit cheaper than the other one. So let's do the 3. If we, for example, if we want to craft one full stack, it seems a lot, like 256 transistors, 256 resistors, 256 diodes, a bunch of bolts and some fine wires, and 2 stacks of printed circuit boards, which actually these ones are more copper, but this is not really that hard to craft. The problem by using this crafting method, as you can see, we are using 192 plastic printed circuit boards, so 3 stacks of circuit boards. It is a lot, and considerably we are spending a bunch more of transistors, resistors, and also we have to include the capacitors and inductors. So yes, it is a lot. It is a lot of materials which we don't have right now. So I'll be using this recipe here for the HV circuits only for crafting the EV circuits that we have now. And for the rest, for machine crafting and stuff, we will be using this recipe right here, which is fairly easier than using this one. But of course, we are also using the SMD resistors and other components, which are way cheaper than their previous counterparts. But anyway, that's too much talking. In this episode, I think this is going to be quite a short episode, and it is my goal, actually, to be short. There are 3 things that we are going to be doing in this episode. We are going to be crafting our first HV energy hatches. We are not going to use them yet. We are only going to use one. But these ones are important as we are going to be using this a lot in order to produce energy in our new base. So this is something I want to have crafted as for now. Then we are going to be doing our first vacuum freezer, which we are going to use in order to make our first set of Nichrone coil blocks. That is the next set of coils. And if I have some time, maybe we do either some titanium or we start with the building of the net space, which I already have an idea of how I want to do it. So let's get into it. Now we are going to start with the HV energy hatches. For this, we need 4 components. We need sodium, potassium, high voltage coils, LPIC chips, and gold cables, and of course the HV machine pool. The high voltage coils are fairly simple. We only need magnetic steel rod and some fine black steel wire. Black steel is also fairly simple. We only need nickel, steel, and black bronze. And black bronze is with electrum and copper. And that's how we get our high voltage coils. We will also need a new liquid. I think this works like a kind of coolant. And for purposes, we are going to be using sodium potassium, which is actually the only the only liquid that we can use in order to make these HV energy hatches. Now, we also need a new set of wafers, but for these wafers, we require two things. First, an HV cutter, and we also require this advanced cutter to be inside a clean room. This is clean. So let's put it right here. This should receive energy. And if we put some lubricant and some LPIC wafers, this is not working. Is it because of this? I don't think so. Why? Why? I was crafting just fine circuits with this redstone lamp here on the side. Why this works in some weird ways. But in 45 seconds we would be getting our first LPIC chips. Now this LPIC wafer is fairly easy. We just need a silicon wafer together with some orange glass lens, which is just glass lenses together with some orange dye in an HV chemical bath. And we already have an HV chemical bath. And there we get our first LPIC chips. Now we can grab our sodium potassium. This should be the last high voltage coil. And this should be the last LPIC chips that we are going to be needing. Now in an advanced assembler, so the HV, we only have to throw the machine hools, cold cables, the LPIC chips, high voltage coils, and then the sodium potassium. And soon we should be getting our first HV energy hatch. And there is it. Now this is not a quest because I totally forgot to grab one bucket of sodium potassium. There is it. There is the quest. Now if we throw all of this, we should be able to craft some HV pumps. And if we throw here, we should be able to craft our vacuum freezer controller. Yes, vacuum freezer. There is the achievement. Nice. So the vacuum freezer basically acts like the chemical bath that we were using to cool down the cancel ingots. But in this case, we need something more powerful. First, you shut up. We need something more powerful. And that's why we need a vacuum freezer. Now, this vacuum freezer, we are going to use only one HV energy hatch. This is actually going to be more than enough. We really don't need this much power. But I mean, we already have it. Let's use it. And we can complete the multi-block. And there is it. Now, of course, this needs some maintenance. Now, this vacuum freezer should be working. We'll need to put some ingots that we need to cool down. And in our case, that's going to be Nichrone. So it's a good thing that for Nichrone we need an MV mixer. That's very fine. We need it on circuit number 2. And this is fairly cheaper than using a cancel. So for Nichrone we only need chromium and a bunch of nickel. And 25 seconds, yes, this is going to take a bit of time. But after these 25 seconds, we should be getting our first 5 dusts of Nichrone. There is it, Nichrone. Now Nichrone, we should just throw it into our blast furnace. The Nichrone now we only have to throw it in the blast furnace. And after 44 seconds, we would be getting the hot Nichrone ingots. Yes, 44 seconds. I could overclock the EVF once more and have it on EV. I'm not going to do that. Because that means having to craft 4 more gas turbines in HP in this case. So I don't want to do that. I want to chill today. So yeah, we are just going to wait and wait and wait. And I want to test this actually. The rubber gloves. It says it protects from skin contact. So if I grab the hot Nichrone, will I burn? Yes, I'm still burning. And I'm burning really fast. But we can grab the Nichrone and we can throw it into this LV input. And after 4 seconds, we will get our first Nichrone ingot. Nichrone, finally. Now the only thing left is waiting. We need 2 stacks of Nichrone. That's a lot. But yeah, we need 2 stacks of Nichrone. And after that, we only need to throw this into a wire mill to get the 2H Nichrone wires. And we only throw the Nichrone wires together with some stainless steel foil and liquid aluminum. And we should be getting our Nichrone Coils blocks. Now, we really don't need these Nichrone Coils just yet. But I want to start crafting them, because they are going to be very useful whenever we start setting up a proper benzene production, and as well a proper gas furnace setup. So yes, it is pretty much nice, and we are also going to be using this for a smelter. So yeah, let's just craft a bunch of it. So yeah, I'll just be crafting a bunch of it and just waiting for all of it to craft. It really doesn't take that much time. So in the meantime, because this is actually the objective for this episode, it was so fast, so fast. In the meantime, I'll be collecting some resources in order to start building the new base. Now this should be the last Nichrone ingots that we need for 16 Nichrone coils. Now we only have to turn all of this into wires. The 2H wires. Oh, this is going fast. This is going fairly fast. And those are 2 stacks of Nichrone wires. Now we only need to throw everything into a HV assembler. And after 20 seconds we will be getting our first Nichrone coil. This is so exciting. This is so exciting. And there is it. Nichrone coil block. Look at that. Look at that purple. Well, it's not purple, but I don't know how to say the color in English. But it is like a light purple, like the color from the lilac. It is very nice. Very, very nice. Now my question is, why do we need Nichrone for titanium? Because for titanium we need Kanthal, not Nichrone. So why do we need Nichrone? That's my question. Anyway, it is fine. We have Nichrone. That's what matters. And this is the last one. 16 Nichrone coil blocks. Now, of course, ideally we would like to change the coils for the blast furnace. If we were to change the coils right now, we would be at a 3700 Kelvin temperature. So indeed, the recipes, for example, for steel, would be energy-wise a bit cheaper, I think. If I understand correctly, that's what it means. But for now, we will be still using Kanthal, because I want to use our first Nichrone coils for our pyrolysis oven. Of course, I'm not going to change it right now, because this setup is valid for the setup with copper nickel coils and 1 MV energy hatch. But we will be using this for our proper setup that we will be having in our new base. So yes, I'll just be crafting more coil blocks. A bunch of them. However, I think there is still some time in the video, and I think what we are going to do is go to this new location we have here. And this is where our new base will be. Now, I had the idea of doing all of this base presentation and stuff like that on another video, but let's do it right now. Let's start building the new base. Let's get into it. welcome to the Old Earth's compound. Now yes, the idea behind this base, at least the idea of the base, is a compound. Of course, any compound needs a perimeter, which this doesn't have yet. I have to make one perimeter. But at least I want to have the bases of the base set up. Now let's go to the map. As we can see, we have 3 small buildings already built. And as you could see on the small time lapse, it was built thanks to the schematic canon. It took a lot of time and I had to fill up some of the blocks, especially because the schematic canon doesn't fill up the framed blocks. And I think there will be only a couple more of buildings which I will be building together with the schematic canon. And then after that, I'll be just building here directly. I just did it with schematic canon because I have designed these buildings in creative. So my idea is to take up all of this region here. There will be 4 facilities into this compound. First we have the heart of the compound, which is going to be the center of command. In this place, I'm thinking of putting everything related to AE2, storage, and other stuff that are basically logistics stuff. Then up here, we will have our resource facility, in which we will have basically any kind of passive resources. So for example, this building, that is this one, we will be having our benzene production going on. One of the mistakes that I've just realized while designing this is that it will be too cramped. Everything will, this space is too small. It's too small for the benzene production that I'm thinking of having here. It is way too small. It should be bigger. But it is already done, so I'll just be using this. And future me will try to resolve the problem of space. No, it doesn't only belongs to benzene, but also to other kind of passive resources that we like to have. For example, sulfuric acid, any kind of plastics like polyethylene or polytetrafluoroethylene, that thing here. A lubricant, distilled water, you name it. In this side here to the southwest, we will have our manufacturing facility. That is basically anything that is concerning from converting raw resources to final products. So for example, we will have our clean room, our set of blast furnaces. In the future, we will have assembly lines and assembling lines and that kind of stuff in this place here, in all of this place here. Just processing of raw materials to finished products. Then here, in this part, we have our dark arts facility, in which we'll have our blood magic setup. But of course, this is very far from us. So it is something that we are not going to be going even right now. We are very far. It's LUV when we unlock blood magic. So yeah, it's not something we are going to be doing right now. Then in this place, we have our botanist facility. I'm thinking of doing most of the botanist facility underground because basically, as far as I'm concerned, botany in this mod is everything that has to do with the fluid, with the mana simulator, essence reactors, and other kind of stuff. It is not really that much of a botania thing. We will generate mana through the mana simulator. For anything requiring dragonstones, pixie dust, elementium, even blood magic reagents, this kind of weird liquid, as well as better crafts for runes, are done through multi-blocks. So in this case, the mana engraver, the mana and the essence reactor. This multi-block here. It's basically Gregified. So most of Botania things we will be doing underground. And that's why we have this kind of broken tower here. And then I was thinking of doing a small cabin, a small house for Ars Nouveau. But then I realized we have this tower here. which actually has this thing here. Can I snare you? Which is dead, and gave us a totem of undying. And I am dead. It's a good thing we have a lot of plenty of ender pearls. And there is a friend that it is not my friend. There is two friends that are not my friends. I'm dead. Now the good thing we got a totem of undying, which we are going to be using this for upgrading our spellbook in the future, in the near future. So that is pretty nice. Anyway, I'm thinking of using that tower and first clean that and then repurpose it in order to use it for Ars Nouveau and all the things that we are going to be using Ars Nouveau for. So yes, that's going to be our sorcery facility. Everything related to Ars Nouveau. And yes, and that's all. And of course, I know it is so big. It occupies a lot of space. And that's not really a good idea for beginning HV-EV because of cable loss, if we are talking about energy and centralized energy. But I don't think we are going to be worrying about centralized energy until we get into a bit deep into EV. So yeah, for now we can use this decentralized energy until we get into EV, which is not very soon. Now, there is still a lot of build. I'm thinking of doing undergrounds for each kind of facility and for each building, so I have more space to work on. I also want to kind of decorate, kind of add some pathing into each facility. I also want to add some kind of waystone kind of thing for easy transportation. We have these share stones, so I'm thinking of using these ones instead of regular waystones, as well as the war plates. They seem very interesting to use. But yeah, that's the plan for the new base, the Old Earth compound. Now, before finishing the episode, here I have a beautiful create clipboard in which we will have the plan for the next few episodes. Progression wise, we can start doing the next stuff of things that we need to do. We need to start into the rutile line, so we can get some titanium. We also need to get into the undergarden, which will allow us to get some platinum and this Ethereum and luminescent Ethereum, which will allow us to enter into the EV. We also need to start working with LCRs and start crafting some polytetrafluoroethylene. Polytetrafluoroethylene, I think that's the name. As well as we have to start to do some virulent mixture processing whenever we enter into the undergarden. And we also need to visit the moon. So yeah, there is still a lot to do in HP. So I think it's a good idea to, before continuing with progression, start doing some infrastructure improvements. And we start this by building the new base. Here I have 4 things that I want to do before continuing with progression. First thing, I want to do some benzene and energy distribution. I want to do a proper setup for benzene, and I already have the setup, so it's just a matter of doing it. I also want to get a bit more deeper into Ars Nouveau and kind of have a better source production, thus we can have a better source of wood. I want to enter into applied logistics and auto crafting. And finally, I want to do proper lines of processing resources. And I also want to do some passive resource production. And of course, for each bullet point, I have its own page in which we'll be doing different stuff. For example, for passive resources, there is a lot I want to do. Maybe this will take 2 episodes or 1 big episode. But yes, the rest of the episodes, they shouldn't be taking that much time. Maybe between 20 and 30 minutes, no more. So yeah, we have quite a lot ahead to do, and it would be a good idea to start now. But yeah, anyway, this is the end of the episode. If you're still here, thank you for watching, And as always, I hope you have a better day, because it can always be better. And I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.